Well, it was difficult, but at the same time, it was almost like a eureka moment. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm having this conversation with my boss, and he's like, hey, we got to get this pursued. I need you to come in every weekend for the next, 10 months, and, you're going to work 24/7, and I need you to commit to this. And I'm like, hey, I got, some major stuff going on over here. How can I do this, right? And so I said, I can't do it. And unfortunately, kind of the outcome of that was, they said, well, you're going to have to do it. Like, we're not taking no for an answer. And I said, are you kidding me? You're really putting me in an awkward position. I mean, and that was, again, the culture was, you got to do it. And so I actually left that meeting, and I'm going home at night, 10 o'clock. I'm like, hey, I'm out. Like, if you're not going to empower me or give me an option, I got to do something else.
Hey, I'm Matt Jones with BetterGood Media, and we are here today with Jamie Miller with Mission Multiplier, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about his company, how he got started, why he got started, and what they're doing differently to make our community a better place. Thanks for taking time to be with us. I know you got like a ton of stuff going on. That's one of the things that, when we bump into each other at the hall, you've always got stuff happening, that kind of thing. And lately, you've won a couple of awards for some of the stuff you've done. So talk about the professional awards you've gotten, for your business has gotten.
Yeah, we've been Small Business of the Year by the Huntsville Chamber in 2019. Just probably a couple months ago, I won Entrepreneur of the Year from the Catalyst. It was great recognition, just testimony for that. I feel like we're doing the right thing, and the community's really responding to what we're doing.
Yeah, and I saw when I was in your office a little bit ago, there was an ethics award.
Yes, I mean, that's probably one of our most important awards. I mean, it's part of our core values, but we won the Torch Award, the Better Business Bureau Award for ethics, and just again, validation that we're doing the right thing.
So, of course, I know some of your story, and that's the reason that I wanted to pull you in here, and I've noticed a lot of people have kind of started writing bits and pieces about it because it is a good story. So I want to back up a little bit to before Mission Multiplier, and you were up in DC and you're working for a company you can choose to name or not name, but tell us a little bit about like what DC was like and what was going on in your life from a family standpoint, from a work standpoint.
It was an exciting time. I grew up in Washington DC area. I actually really love it. The thing about Washington DC, I think that makes it special, is people come from all over the US, all over the world to make a difference, right? They come there, they feel like they can change the world. So you kind of self-select a lot of, type A, hard charger people, and they all come in, they all kind of work and overachieve and kind of push each other. Unfortunately, I think there's some negative outcomes of that, right? People just become more cutthroat, people become more aggressive. And, as a result, I say to a lot of people, you don't get stabbed in the back, you get stabbed in the chest, right? People really come after you, and I was in an environment where you had to think, 20 steps ahead to succeed, and there's all these variables that you have to overcome, but it's an amazing proving and learning ground. People work an immense amount of hours, there's a lot of pressure.
Is it mainly just the competition for dollars? Is that what is
Yeah, I think it's a competition for dollars. It's a competition for people to prove themselves. I mean, they're all, again, I think the way I see it is all these amazing people from all over the US, they all, like the top of their class, wherever, they all come there, right, and try to prove themselves. And then on top of that, you go to a major consultancy or a systems integrator technology company, and it's even a cut above that, right? So you just get an intense amount of competition, and the push to get dollars, the push to make impact, to grow and grow. It's all about just growth, hitting your growth targets. And I kind of had the realization, I said, there's got to be more than this, right? And it was really triggered by my wife and I had our first child while we were there, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just, I'm running so hard and, trying to, make impact, but I'm not home. I'm coming home at like 9, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, is this the right thing? Is this what it's all about? We had just had our first child, like I said, and I was on this big project at work, and my boss, who was a partner in this organization, said, hey, we need you to lead this really big deal proposal project, and hundreds of millions of dollars, and hey, you're the guy. And in the culture of that organization, it was like, you don't say no, right? Yeah. And there was some extenuating circumstances with my first son. Everything's fine, but there's some health challenges and things like that. So it was a really intense time for my family. And I was like, just like, I told my boss, I'm like, I just can't do this. I'm not sleeping, kind of emotionally a wreck. Like, I need like I said, you know me, I'll run at anything, but I need a pass. Yeah. Like, I just can't commit to the level of effort that they wanted.
Yeah. So you tell that very quickly, but my guess is that took a while to get to that decision point. And that had to have been like a really difficult decision in time.
Yeah, well, it was difficult, but at the same time, it was almost like a eureka moment. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm having this conversation with my boss, and he's like, hey, we got to get this pursued. I need you to come in every weekend for the next, 10 months, and, you're going to work 24/7, and I need you to commit to this. And I'm like, hey, I got, some major stuff going on over here. How can I do this, right? And so I said, I can't do it. And unfortunately, kind of the outcome of that was, they said, well, you're going to have to do it. Like, we're not taking no for an answer. And I said, are you kidding me? You're really putting me in an awkward position. I mean, and that was, again, the culture was, you got to do it. And so I actually left that meeting, and I'm going home at night, 10 o'clock. I'm like, hey, I'm out. Like, if you're not going to empower me or give me an option, I got to do something else.
Yeah. So you were even looking for a lifeline to stay in the company to do that, but just something that was where you could maintain some sense of family as well as loyalty to the business.
Yeah. I just said, hey, I just need a pass, and then they wouldn't allow me to do it, right? Okay. And I came away with, hey, if that is the core value here, that you're not going to empower or enable good people, and I just said, this is not for me.
Right. Because at that point, you'd proven yourself to the company.
Absolutely.
You were obviously competitive enough to want to be in that environment.
Sure.
To do this kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was in that environment, it was an honor and a privilege to even have that opportunity and have had some success to even get that acknowledgement. So it just, I came to a crescendo, and I said, I came home, and like I said, I was in a very weak moment, and I said, hey, I'm out. Like, I can no longer work here, and we got to do something different. Yeah. And then my wife was like, well, hey, how about what about moving? And I'm like, like I said, I was kind of down. I was like, hey, whatever it takes. And we took a trip to Huntsville just kind of just to get away, to kind of clear our head with everything going on. And I was blown away by the community here, the level of caliber of people here, really, right? And it was just a short visit, but really just had a chance to interact with some folks, and I was like, man, this is a unique place, and it was intriguing enough for me to think through, hey, maybe we can move here and start something.
So you made the decision when you were leaving DC that you wanted to start your own business.
Correct.
So
yes.
even at that point, so it wasn't let me find a job in Huntsville. It was, I want to do things differently. I want to be my own boss. I want to call the shots. So when did that first begin to emerge in your head as, at some point, I'd like to be the leader of my own or start my own?
Yeah, so I mean, where I was, this particular large organization, you're running a business within a business, right? So you're kind of having to manage your own team, sell the work and grow it. But I've always kind of had this entrepreneurial spirit. Early in my career, I was, dating myself here a little bit, but I was involved with internetstartup.com, getting some VC money. We started a company called consciousmedia.com, actually in Alexandria, Virginia, outside of DC. And I've always kind of loved that idea of going back and starting, something new from scratch. That particular venture didn't really work out, more from a timing perspective, but I learned a lot, and I was pretty young at the time as well. So, but just kind of wanted to try something new and do something different, but leverage what I knew.
Okay, so with that in the back of your head, when you made the decision to be out there, part of you thought, this is my chance to jump out. And you mentioned the values piece of the company.
Yeah, so when we were in DC, one of the big things that rubbed me the wrong way, we worked so much, I didn't really feel like I knew my neighbors. I mean, I had friends and a network, of course, but I feel like I wasn't part of a community, right? We'd go to work, we'd come home, I just didn't really feel connected. And when you have a family, it changes, right? I feel like I needed to have a community around us. And I always had this idea, just philosophical belief that you get what you give, right? In time, energy, money. If you do well for others. If you give, it comes back, or however you want to call it. And so I wanted to kind of build on that theme and say, hey, I want to do exciting work in the discipline that I know well, which happens to be cybersecurity and IT, software development. But I wanted to kind of build something that I knew where we could, give back to the community, and it would give back to us.
Yeah. So you're already looking for that when you came down. So Huntsville, just on multiple levels, as far as you already looking into tech and IT, cyber, Huntsville had a lot going on there. Definitely kind of a community vibe about it.
It did, and I didn't know until I started to when we kick things off, and it was just me, right? And I don't recommend this to anybody, right? I don't recommend moving to a new town and starting a business, because it's a recipe for failure or disaster, right? So, came here, didn't really know anybody, and had a goal to, have coffee with, probably at least 2 people every day, just to talk to people, get to know people, and and ask them, hey, how can I help you? Hey, this is kind of my idea, and what can I do to help you? And I bring this wealth of experience, and this is what I'm trying to do. And the community responded. I think Huntsville's a very values-driven community, and so when you start talking about these ideas of giving back, and how can I help you, and there were a lot of people that kind of responded and said, yeah, I'm busy, I got a lot going on. You seem like a great guy. I really resonate with what you're saying. We need some help to do this, XYZ, whatever it is. And so all of a sudden I'm kind of doing work, and I'm, my portfolio is growing, and I have to bring people on, and things just start snowballing. So
what did you do intentionally? You started Mission Multiplier. You were motivated by some values. Obviously you're competitive because you thrived in that environment, right?
Yes.
So I assume that's a value that you've kind of brought in.
Yes.
But yet you also talked about community being important. How did you intentionally bring those values into Mission Multiplier as you added employees and were trying to attract the right people and those kind of things? What was that like?
Well, I mean, I kind of came up with that. It's really the core value. So community, excellence as kind of the competitive piece, innovation, obviously service to others, gratitude. Those were kind of key themes that I wanted to build on. Yeah. And I just, as we started to grow and as we needed help and people that were going to need, that wanted to be part of this, I just articulate, hey, this is the vision, this is the mission that we have, or I'm looking to build. Would you want to be part of this, right? And what really kind of blew me away is what I found is a lot, particularly the younger generations, are really resonating with that. Like in IT, cyber kind of skews young, right? So they're like, oh man, this is fantastic. So I can work for you and feel like we're doing something with the community. And kind of the big thing that we do that's differentiated. I had this idea for a while, but so for every hour an employee works, we direct a portion of company profit to a local charity of that employee's choice, right? So it's not just some big fund or everything goes to United Way or whatever. And again, that's a great organization. However, people want to know that if I have a relative with Down syndrome or some other issue, that hey, I'm working, I'm getting to do cool and exciting, innovative work, but I know that my company and organization is giving to a cause that I'm passionate about, right? So that, I think that kind of changed the game, right? So the people, they saw what we were doing and they got excited. Hey, I get to do cool work and I know that I'm doing good, right? And that became a differentiator. The community here, because it's values driven, responded aggressively and said, oh my gosh, this Mission Multiplier, Jamie Miller, like they're doing really cool stuff. And so we just got opportunities as a result of that.
What's been kind of the feedback you've gotten from them as you've done maybe their annual reviews and just talked to them about their feeling about the company? How important has that been as they're talking about how they feel about working for you and in that?
I think it's a significant piece. I mean, I think it's a differentiator. One, everybody wants to do work that they like and enjoy, right? If you just say, hey, I'm going to do something I don't like or enjoy, but I'm giving back and everything's fun and we're helping the community, I don't think they're going to move that, or they're not going to move on that. They're going to say, hey, I still want to do something I like, and I'm the day-to-day, we're building innovative products, we're working to solve clients' challenges. That has to be exciting, stimulating. But again, at the same time, giving back has been something that we've been able to attract talent that I think, I'll tell this story, like there's other bigger companies, more established well-known companies, we're able to, I had people come to me and say, hey, I have a competing offer with another big company, relatively same salary. However, I chose to come to Mission Multiplier because you guys give back, right? And that's very, very humbling to know, hey, you could have gone to this big, well-known company, established, and you've chosen to come work with us. So really, really powerful.
So employee retention is a piece of an employee attraction. Do you feel like that it's impacted the culture, just even the kind of the feel and the vibe of your organization as compared to others?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a little bit more difficult because of the whole COVID pandemic this past year. That we would do, events. We would do, everyone would go to the animal shelter. We do like an Alzheimer's walk. We do, as a all together, like a corporate kind of sponsored thing. And we'd have community events where we all come together with our families. That's obviously hasn't happened like in the past year. So that's really been a struggle for us, and that's because that's a key part of our culture. However, we're trying to do something small groups, and we're starting to come out of that. But when the pandemic first happened, we were saying, what can we do, right? How do we help people? And the reality is, because everybody had to move from their corporate offices to work from home, and a lot of organizations weren't prepared for that. And unfortunately, this is just the way the world works. There were people that were trying to take advantage of the companies and organizations that were unprepared, steal information, all these scams, all these phishing emails, and malware. People were trying to steal information, and we said we got to do something about this. So we gave out one of our products called Mars Suite for free to the community, and said, hey, listen, just take this. It's going to help you to be more adequately protected, and use it. And hey, no fee or anything. Just we want to help. I think this is a time when goodwill is really important, and so again, that's just emblematic of what we were trying to accomplish, and I believe it helped people. The feedback that we gotten was very positive.
So for you as the leader of the company, one of the things that you've got going on is every one of those decisions eats into profits.
Yes. It's a balancing act. But again, I really believe this. You have to, and I think it really, I think this has happened or transpired. Yeah, if you think short term, hey, yes, it does eat into profit. I'm spending money I probably shouldn't spend. However, I believe that, just having that brand, that understanding in the community that people, hey, these guys, are good people, they're giving back. Other businesses are going to come work with us, right? We're going to get talent that's going to come to us, right? So it's just looking at the world differently, saying, hey, this is not a cost, this is an opportunity. And I think that's why we have been successful, right? We're spending money, and we got to be thoughtful in managing it, but I know that it's going to come back.
Okay. And it's going to come back, and I assume by this point you'll be able to kind of quantify it in some way, that this reduction in profit has increased productivity from employees, contracts that we've gotten.
Absolutely. It's hard to quantify to the dollar, but generally speaking, I think we're getting on more government contracts, more commercial work. More people are calling us. Our growth trajectory has been pretty significant. And I have to believe it's because of what we're doing, right? We are tracking it, and we see the cost, but we see our revenue stream, our profits going up, right? So as a leader, that says to me, hey, we're doing the right thing, right? So keep doing it and embrace it. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, fantastic, because I know that's like the pressure point for a lot of people, is to make that decision to give back, whether it's giving employees time to go volunteer in their place, or whether we're matching funds. Especially if you have a board or somebody you have to answer to. That's a pressure point. And it is a challenge when you can't, on the same spreadsheet say, here's how much profit reduction, but here's the income. But you can get pretty close just looking at your trajectory of growth and those kind of things, and attributing to it almost like you'd say an advertising expense.
Absolutely.
Like we're spending this amount of money on advertising.
Correct.
You can't always quantify exactly how many people saw that ad that led to that, but you can see that while you were advertising, you saw an increase.
Exactly right. Yeah. Okay. We one good story, so that shows absolute precision, quantification on this, is we had an opportunity to go after this particular work. I'm not going to name the government organization, but it's very well known. They came back to us and said, hey, listen, it was between you, Mission Multiplier, and another company. you guys were relatively, same price point, same experience, same everything, but ultimately your mission and what you do and giving back to the community tipped the scales. So we selected you. So that just gave me...
That's pretty quantifiable right there.
That just told me, hey, we're doing the right thing, and this matters. And people recognize that.
Yeah. And so let's go take back into your mind, you're in DC, you're coming out of that meeting, you're on your way home, and you're thinking, I can't do this anymore. What does that feel like versus what it feels like right now to be sitting here having made that decision?
Incredibly gratifying just to know that, you got to do what you feel passionate about and where you feel empowered. And at that moment, if I reflect and look back, I'm not being empowered, I'm not being supported, and I don't feel like I'm in the right place. And you got to respond, to that message, right? So I said, and now I'm doing something. I wake up every morning, I'm super excited. I'm thrilled. I'm working with amazing people. I'm in a great community. It's just a night and day difference. And I can't tell you, again, just having moved to Huntsville, starting the business, I've been so grateful and fortunate for everything that has happened and everybody that's been involved. And again, the fact that I was able to come here, not know a soul, start a business, grow it, become pretty successful and got to get this, all this recognition that we've gotten is it's an amazing story. So it's very humbling, truly.
Yeah. And I know from some things you've said and being around your company that you've managed to create that environment for them to where they don't have to worry about feeling like you felt in that moment.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's about empowering the team and making sure that they feel like they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. We're all about feedback and candid, transparent, honest communications, and it's all about people, right?
Yeah.
Treat people well, communicate, be transparent, and all be in alignment for what your mission is, right?
So if you were, kind of as we wrap this up, if you were had a chance to talk to someone they're running a business or starting a business, and they haven't been intentional about baking in some kind of a give back component, what would be your advice for them on first best steps to take to get there and why they should do it?
Yeah, you have to consider it. I actually think there's the movement, whether I was intentional about it, but I think I see other businesses doing something similar. I think society is going in that direction, right? Hey, give back, empower your community, whether you'll start with your employees. Think about what you're passionate about and ways to give and engage your community, and know that it's going to come back. But just be thoughtful about it. And start where your passions are. Don't try to check a box, but what do you enjoy doing? What are some of the organizations in your community that you like to support, or maybe already in your organization that you do support? Try to amp it up and see what happens, and just explore and kind of take it from there.
Great, good stuff. Well, Jamie, thank you for taking time to talk about all the things that you're doing, and congratulations on the awards, and even more than the awards, creating a company that embodied the things that you felt passionate about. Not everybody can do that. Nobody's going to take that chance to jump out there. So thank you for doing that. And then thank you for choosing Huntsville and for being here and building that here and inspiring other people to be a part of that.
Thank you so much for the time, Matt. Really appreciate it.
And we also want to thank Lincoln Mill for allowing us to hang out in this lobby as they're going through a major renovation. We're actually both tenants here, and it's been fun to watch this go from a historic building into kind of a new creative, innovative space. So thank them for the opportunity to be here and to use their space.